Transition. Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to our monthly COGG Let's Play. We are the Central Ohio Game Developers Group, COGG, the COGG. And yeah, we're really excited. Just a sidebar before we kind of get started with the main event here. Wes, we had a phenomenal a holiday party on Friday. That was just really, really stellar. Had a great
Yeah, it
time.
was a lot of fun. I really appreciate everybody coming out because we love having those types of events. They're not always, every month or whatnot, but like being able to see everybody again and just getting a chance to kind of catch up with folks and even some new people. We had a lot of new people. It's great to meet you all in person and just have some fun to kind of like, tail end the end of our year and just get to see everybody have a fun time playing games and getting to know each other. So
Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
it was a lot of fun.
And like this year has been our first year with this partnership with Game Arena, right? And
Mm.
that's just been a neat space, a very well LED'd space that we get to come together. It's been fun, and I've had some really fantastic conversations with people about their games from prototype and plays at the Game Arena over this year. So it's been a really neat space. We're excited about what that partnership is going to continue to look like moving forward. So. But yeah, so if you are not familiar with us, so I'm Caleb, and this is over here, Wes.
Hi. Hello. How's it
Uh,
going?
and we are on your COG admin team. COG is the Central Ohio Game Developers Group. We are a community-run organization that is all about creating spaces and opportunities for people who are interested in games and especially in making games and learning the process and craft of making games. So we create spaces and opportunities for people to collaborate and network and learn from one another and just in general grow your craft in the process of making games. Because it's hard. Like, it's really tough. Making
Yeah.
games can be a challenging and rewarding journey, and there's so many facets and there's so many ways to do it well or to do it poorly, and there's like a whole artistic element to it, and it's very technical and very artsy. It's a fascinating combination. And we love it here, and we love all of these wonderful conversations and whatnots that we get to have with all of you. So yeah.
So we've had a lot of opportunities, especially this year, to do both online and in-person opportunities. And so if you're not familiar with some of our events, we have in the beginning of the month, second Friday is our prototype and play. That's a way for you to kind of come in either in Discord or at Game Arena and showcase your games and just kind of get some feedback. Then we have this event, which is the Let's Play series, which is a lot of fun where Caleb usually spins up a game or an idea, gets some feedback from the community, and play some awesome games that could be games that like some of the ones today, or games from our community, and give a deep dive and a breakdown of like those mechanics and kind of what's working well, what could be improved, or just some interesting factoids about like what those might entail. And then the last Saturday of the month, we have our game dev meetup, which is the one we've always had. They may have presentations. A lot of time there are announcements for COG, and they're a great way to kind of see what's kind of coming up next. So that last one's going to be on. I think we can still have it. It's the Saturday 30th. So if you happen to be around and not blown away by a lot of the holidays, we'd love to have you.
Blown
It's
away.
on our YouTube. Yeah.
It's a great. Is there an incoming pending great wind, Wes?
I don't know. Well, they just said that there's a lot of snow coming in tomorrow, so
Oh
hopefully.
no, really?
Yeah, I just heard about that. I got a report on my phone. So in Ohio, where we're from, we tend to get, hey, it's a sunny day, to hey, it's 5 inches of snow sometimes for no reason.
Goodness.
So, but yeah, it should be exciting. We have a
Oh
lot of
yeah, I
cool
see
stuff
it
going
there.
on.
Monday, yeah, snow.
So you got it.
Yeah, no, I see it. Point oh
So
nine inches. So maybe not a lot, but
no, just enough, I think, to like get people like, oh shoot, it's really winter. Um, And then the only other thing I'd do a shout out for, and I'll let you kind of take over for sure, Caleb, is we have a GDEX Winter Game Jam going on now.
oh
It's
yeah,
all
yeah.
online. We have an itch.io page and a Discord that we're doing teams on. It's very casual. It's a month-long game jam from now to January, end of the day, January 7th. We'll have reviews and stuff afterwards for about a week, and then we'll nominate the best game and show, so to speak. So it's a very casual event. You can start and stop whenever you want to. There's games looking for people. We're going to try to coordinate some of that stuff. We have our first game professional peer review next Monday, so tomorrow, on the server. And if you just want to hang out and see what people are doing and working on, like you can pop in anytime. That's our GDEX, kind of our Game Expo Discord server. So I'll shoot a shout out on the link for where you can find that. But that's some of the stuff today. Otherwise, everybody's just having fun with the holidays. Everybody's doing some cool stuff, so we'll be around to kind of be there and just kind of hang out with you guys when we can.
So I'm really excited to get into today's games. We've done this a couple of years now, I think. Did we? Maybe only last year was when we started doing it. But this has been a theme that I've really enjoyed. So the theme is games that we're thankful for, and obviously it's holiday themed. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I usually had a Santa hat. I wonder if I can turn. Can I turn it on?
Oh, like an icon?
Wait. The Santa hat. I got it.
Oh my god.
I love it. I had this from last year. This is our December game jam, right? Our
so we did
game
do
jam.
it last year.
Our December our holiday let's play stream. But yeah, so last year in November, which that's when we in America, the USA, celebrate Thanksgiving, right? So we talk about games we're thankful for, and this is a pretty broad category, right? I mean, people could be thankful for, everything from something you grew up with to something you played last week, and it just be an open category for people to say, hey, these are games that we've really loved and that have made an impact on us. So made a post about that, let people do some recommendations. Wes, you actually recommended the game that we're going to start with today, and then we're going to do that for about the first half of our time, and then we're going to play a game that I've actually only within the last month picked up that has made it's left quite an impression on me, and I'm excited to share that one as well. But yeah, this is always a fun topic, and it's kind of we try to focus a lot on this stream on talking about design and kind of getting to the nitty gritty of what works in a game and what doesn't work, and like Smiling Cat, this Duke in the chat said making good games is really hard work, and so one of the best things that we can do as game designers and developers is to see how things are working in other games and kind of learn what did they do well, and how could we find different things we could improve on. So yeah, we're gonna get in. We're gonna start with go over to this page here. So we're gonna talk about two games today, Stardew Valley and Hardspace Shipbreaker. Now, if you don't know Stardew Valley, that's actually kind of impressive. It's a very popular, very well-known game. Lots of people have played this one. It's it captured the imaginations of so many people, and in that sort of casual, but also, I don't know if grindy is the right word, but it's just like the doing processes over and over again. It's very like comfortable and familiar. There's a lot of systems mechanics that people really find are great. There's a lot of interesting characters to interact with, and it's just the world feels very alive in a way that is fresh and refreshing. Now, I looked up when this game originally came out, and was it really only 2016? That does not feel like it was that long ago. But I feel like this game has been out for forever.
Yeah, and it's had a lot of iterations. Now they have the ability to do multiplayer and expansion packs and all that good stuff. And if you're really into these like farming, harvesting, like Harvest Moon like games where you go in and you're building a bunch of stuff, you're meeting people, you're trying to make friends, and it can be addictive, and it's kind of because you can play it almost kind of however you want to.
Yeah. There's a lot of
that's why,
variety for sure.
That's why I liked it. That's why I was very, quote unquote, thankful for these types of games, because when you come home and you would just want to kind of throw on, a game just to kind of play casually, like it was really, really nice.
Yeah. So
Good dopamine.
Stardew Valley came out February 2016, which simultaneously feels not very long ago and an eternity ago. So its developer is Eric Barron. Goes under the name Concerned Ape as an entity, but it was built in, and I thought this was fantastic, mono game. Well, so okay, a little bit of a story to that. So it was actually originally developed on the XNA framework, which, if you're unfamiliar with it, was basically a set of tools and utilities. And I actually did a little bit of work on this years ago when I was doing some learning programming stuff. It's basically like a set of tools and utilities. Game engine is a bit too much of a term for it. It's not quite an engine as it is like a set of tools and utilities that you could use to make games in C#, and it had various plugins and things that you could do various things with.
You referring to XNA or mono game?
XNA, sorry, yes, XNA.
Yeah.
So yeah, XNA was a utility. It maybe question mark still exists. I'm not entirely sure.
Oh no, I mean we when I worked with Multivarious Games, when we were working on an unannounced title and we did XNA stuff, and I think if I recall correctly, they either greatly reduced support or like kind of
like full sale
entirely. It was definitely at a point where it just didn't make sense to continue on if you're looking to build it for the platform, because that's what it was for, right? It was for
right.
Hopefully you'd put it up on the Xbox.
Right. Yeah, and so like Spine Cat says, XNA was about halfway between raw DirectX and a proper engine, and that's a good description of it. So it was a set of code libraries, and you could like build games with it for sure. But that's what Stardew Valley was originally built in, and then in I think it was 2020 or 21. He made the switch over to mono game, which the primary thing that came out of that was a lot more mod support. It made it a lot easier for people to consistently create a mod experience for the game. And the mod community for Stardew Valley is huge. Like there's a ton of really fascinating mods, and I've gotten to play around with kind of. Well, there's one that's like a huge extension to the game. I think it's called Stardew Valley Extended, and it adds a whole other like world layer on top of the game already. Very impressive. Like some really, really cool mod stuff, and there's been a lot of love from the mod community for Stardew Valley. Anyway, let's get into it. We'll come back and talk about Hard Space Shipbreaker here in a little bit. But I wanted to start the game.
XNA's last published was in 2021, and Monogame is still alive. If anybody's interested. So
here we go.
Also, this game has amazing music.
So good. I wanted to actually open the game fresh because this is such an iconic musical line. There's a bunch of like little things you can like, little hidden bits. There's more.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Anyway, I'll stop messing around. So what we have tended to do, and actually I'll turn down the music just a little bit. It's a little bit much. What we have tended to do is starting a game fresh and talking about those initial first moment experiences of the game. Many of you have probably played this game already and are familiar with the basic concept of it. And just for fun today, what we're going to do is I'm going to actually load up a game that's in the spring of year 3. So this is kind of after you've played the quote-unquote like career mode of the game, and then it just sort of goes on and on ad nauseum into eternity. Oh man, I adjusted all of this stuff and it didn't save. I have a 4K monitor, so it makes everything like uber. Let's bring this up a little bit. There, that's much better. Okay. All right, so here we are in the world of Stardew Valley. This is a fully upgraded house from late game. Everything in here will be
Nice
more
hat.
late game stuff. I love the hat. Yeah, my character in here is called Sir Caleb, so it's made sense. Also, I just for context, I haven't. This is not recent. Like, this is from years ago that I made this playthrough. So I actually have no idea what the state of things are in this game. So this is going to be a little bit of a rediscovery project. But I have a set of knights. I don't know why, but they're there.
Oh, you have the huge Geo too. I love that thing.
Oh, do I? Oh, yeah, that big one. Yeah.
I mean, the bear is pretty awesome looking as well.
A skeleton of some kind. So I always made this mistake. So you'll notice that this was definitely more of a min-max type of playthrough because my bed is right next to the door. So that when it's, 10 minutes to 2 a.m. when your character passes out, you're like able to pop into the bed immediately. But I always forget that this is actually where the door is. And I always think this is the door.
Oh.
But then that actually led me to discover that I have this wonderful thing going on here. But I'm not entirely sure what's going on here because there's no way to pick up all of this stuff. But I think what actually may have happened, I think I had an automation mod on this.
Oh.
And the mod is disabled or something at the moment. So all of this stuff was supposed to get automatically harvested into the box, which is why it is not designed in a way that actually lets you harvest anything. But like the mod appears to be disabled, so oh well.
Man, that's a different discussion I'd like to talk about as mod for games, because
dude.
Sometimes, doing a quality of life, like especially for games like this has been around for a while, they're really interesting things that communities do to kind of lengthen how games are played.
That honestly, what would be really fun is to see if anybody in our COG community has built a mod before. And if we could just get somebody on to talk about the mod they made and what that experience was like, that would be really cool.
And I mean, we're kind of more of a game dev focused, but like I've talked to plenty of people where maybe they didn't get a job in the industry as like working on a mod, but they've definitely mentioned that it could help, right? Because if you're working, for your favorite game and using their tools, then they're like, hey, can you use our tools if we hire you on? You can be like, absolutely. So I've talked to a couple folks, and again, I'm not saying it's the end-all be-all, but it doesn't hurt. If you say you use some weird stuff like, hey, I'm using the source engine and that happens to be what they're using, like, yeah, that could only help you, I think. if you do it well, right?
Right. Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, it's always something to consider. And they're just fun. You really start to think about how these games are constructed, through event systems or through like pixel creation and placement. So I've seen a lot of folks kind of utilize those tools as a way to kind of just get to understand what and how the game was developed. So.
Yeah, that can be an interesting way to do it, especially if you find like games that have sort of their own internal leveled creators, right? Because sometimes the idea of starting from scratch with a full like game engine, like opening Unity or opening Unreal, can be very intimidating, especially if it's like your first time doing it. There's just so much going on, and there's code, and there's art, and there's animation, and there's all of this other stuff, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming. And going like finding a game that you enjoy, you love, and has like a level creator in it, you don't have to deal with like creating mechanics, you don't have to deal with reimagining or building from the ground up. You can just be like, oh hey, let me take all of these elements and try my hand at building them. And there's lots of things that are actually doing this kind of thing on purpose, right? So you have like your Mario makers, your Mega Man makers, you have the Portal, what was it called, Labs or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, and some of them are just like their community expects it. Like Bethesda games are very much so like that. They're just like, look, if you don't make a mod for this, we're not gonna be happy. It's because there's huge communities for them now, and it's because like people want to make things that just the original publishers can't do, right? Like I knew people that would work in the engine for like Fallout 4 and make their own mods for like Marvel like characters, right? So they'd make the Avengers. And you can't put the Incredible Hulk in there, but if you mod it, yeah, you absolutely can. It'd be kind of fun.
A lot of really wild ideas people come up with for mods and things. It's that there has been, certainly you brought up Bethesda. There has been an interesting discussion occasionally about games knowing that they're going to have a mod community, and so just not finishing things and waiting for the mod community to do it for them.
Oh yeah, no, a lot of the upgrades for Fallout, and I forget, maybe Vegas, was people just were really good at making like better gun sound effects, right?
Oh,
just
interesting.
higher quality or better textures. And it was just like, it was light years better. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think sometimes that just happens. Oh, you have a cutscene.
I apparently have a cutscene. Yet I haven't played this in years, so.
Sorry, let's talk. I mean, for those, I guess, who haven't played this, like, what is it that we're doing from time to time? Like,
yeah, okay, so we talked a little bit about Stardew Valley having a lot of like narrative and character development as you go through it, right? So they have, I would say it's a rather rudimentary, basic, like friendship meter. So you got like 10 hearts, I think it is. And then as you interact with people, if you leave a positive impression, if you give them gifts, if you help them out on jobs, then you'll slowly increase your friendship with them. And what's cool about that is that at different points, you actually can have these kinds of conversations, like cutscene conversations with an individual character, and you get to know them a little bit more. And as they get to know you, because the whole premise is that you've just moved to this town, right? You were given a farm by your grandfather. You show up there, and then you have to kind of like reclaim the farm and start making it work again. So you don't know anybody in town, and so you're kind of developing a relationship with them. And as you do so, you get these cutscenes, and you start learning about who these people are, and learning about their pasts and kind of their personality. And almost all of the characters, I think, start out giving off a different impression that you eventually find out that they have a lot more depth to their character. Like Haley is really abrasive when you meet her initially, and then that changes over time. So this is one of those cutscenes. I don't know which one.
Something about her bracelet. I don't know if
whoa, what'd I do?
Oh, that's interesting. So I would have figured you'd try to find it, but you can either buy it or you can say I'm sorry and just say, Oh, maybe you can find it. Maybe it's on the shore somewhere.
There we go. We have a chance. Oh, look, I see it.
Good thing you've got top-down view.
I know, top-down vision. Bingo.
If only I had top-down view in my house when I lost something.
Yeah, no kidding. I also love the character, and like the faces are great.
Yeah.
Like I love all of the different faces. My wife makes these little crochet dolls, and she's done several Stardew Valley characters.
Yeah. Yeah, those are really cool. Water the world.
I don't know. I have my water can with me. Yeah. So there's so many things that you can do in this game because like you can come down here, you can harvest stuff. So this is just like various objects lying around. You can just sell them, or you can use them for various things. I don't think I have. Oh, I do. Look at that. Okay. How do I? Oh, there we go. Oh, jeez. We got a little operation going on over here. Let me show you guys fishing. Fishing is always a hoot.
It took me forever to figure out fishing.
Dude, it's quite the thing. I got a herring.
Well, I do like it because it's not very. It's pretty different than most games that do fishing. I feel like, or it feels different. Like, it's not just like putting your bobber into the part of the water you think there's fish. It's like you gotta keep it within a range, and
yeah, you gotta kind of keep the green bar within the fish. And some of the fish are just absurd to try to catch. They're like,
yeah,
sardine. It's great.
So
yeah.
There's quests.
There's quests, foraging, and a lot of the quests, like there are some quests that you actually have, like it tells you what the quest is, but there's some things that you just advance. That's just kind of out there, right? Like you don't. Oh shoot. You just kind of advance slowly over the course of. Oh shoot! I totally forgot that this was a thing.
It looks good as new.
This is a whole thing that I actually haven't done yet. I remember this because I unlocked the boat to go to the other island, and I actually haven't ever gone to the other island and explored it.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done this quest yet. That's cool.
Yeah, I've never actually gotten on this boat before. Smiley Cat says the fishing game reminds me of one of those handheld fishing games from the late 90s. It was like because it had the plastic, and you could actually do you actually had the rod, and you could like do the rod thing, right?
I had one of those at my grandparents' place, so when we were like bored, like hanging out or whatever, they just played with that on the couch. They're fun.
Oh wow, there's this whole world over here. This is wild.
Look at that like colorful tortoise on the far left.
It's got like a quilt.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is fun. There's still like I've been playing this game on and off for years, and there's still tons to explore, which is cool.
Well, and if you like this game, they're coming out soon with a new one. Was it
Haunted Chocolatier? Yeah.
That one's very excited on a lot of people's lists.
Yes, for sure. Oh, this is... Yeah, there's some combat in the game, so you can go to like some caves and do some combat and stuff. I don't know that there's anything on this island in particular.
And how would you know?
Oh geez, there's lava.
You won't jump in. Wait, is that like a spa on the left, maybe?
Oh, you know what? I bet I know what to do.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh, cause you.
Oh, here we go.
You,
See? Oh, we got some combat.
Okay.
Slimes, lava slimes. Oh my gosh, what is that? I am not prepared.
Yeah.
Oh man, my health is in bad state.
Oh, I was gonna.
Oh, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
man.
die. No. Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so the question has been asked. Okay, so the dungeoneering is in this game. So like this part of the game with the combat and the diving into the dungeons and having battles and stuff. Does it actually work? Like, does it fit with the rest of the game? Wes, I'm going to ask you that question. Does it fit with the rest of the game?
I mean, it's hard to say because, like, I don't know. I like it, but it's one of the things that people are actually anticipating a lot is going to be better in the next one. Just because there's a lot of trailers and stuff for combat system and the quote-unquote dungeoneering. I've heard people say it's repetitive, but like, I guess what's nice, so there's this island that I didn't see. I don't know, Caleb, if you've seen before, but there's another dungeon on the main
oh yeah, the desert area, right?
Well, there's a mine. Do you remember the mountain that you can go to with the carts and everything? I think it's like the top right corner of the map.
Ooh.
But I mean, you might be talking about another thing. There might be a couple things, but like, I guess what I've remember it being is just as you go further and further, there was like multiple levels you can go to, and so as you go in, the harder the monsters are, but the larger the rarity of items you would get. Which is always like, it's a progressive challenge,
Right.
because you're always fighting against time and health and resources, obviously. So like, if you get stronger, you know, you can get deeper into the mine and get better items, which is always good, right? But I think some people were saying like it just was kind of repetitive because you always had to go through like the introductory levels as you went deeper. Yeah, I think this is it.
Yeah, so this is the standard one.
Yeah. So, yeah,
and it lets you like, you can.
Okay, yeah, so you can skip around.
You could skip them. So it's every 5th level it gives the elevator go down. Yeah, but I think more fundamentally speaking, so much of the game is about like the farming and the woodworking and the animal husbandry and like, you know, some mining to that extent. Does the fact that there is a literal combat section, does that actually work? Like,
it's not
thematically, I guess. Thematically is more of the question.
Yeah. Well, you know, the funny thing is, I'm not surprised it's in there. In part because, like, the guy that made this, Eric, when he made this, if I remember correctly, he actually wanted to see Harvest Moon games done differently.
Right.
There's a lot of inspiration grabbing from that. And if you ever played a Harvest Moon game, there's a lot of combat in those, like especially dungeons and whatnot. So the argument could be say, hey, you know, do those ones work? And I think they do, but there's a lot more complexity. But I think with how chill this game is, you might be splitting your audience in terms of what you're interested in.
Yeah, that's an interesting observation.
So if you're like, I just want to casually go around and pick up items, you may not be as interested in the mines because they're much more like tactile. Like, you have to kind of time, you know, swinging around and hitting things and watching your health and upgrading stuff. It's a different kind of game. Maybe good or bad. I don't know. It just depends on what you're interested in.
The problem is that there's absolutely an element to which not doing it totally hurts your game. Like, you
Yeah, I guess that's the
progression
hard thing.
progression is absolutely connected to doing the mines, because if you don't do the mines, then you can't get some of the best items in the game.
That's true, and that's important, right? If it's a mechanic that requires the full experience of the game, I mean, in the sense that like you're not gonna really miss out on the main story or something, then yeah, that probably needs to be considered as part of like, is this a good mechanic or not, and how does it
Right.
fit? So, um,
And I'm sure that there are plenty of people who play it who enjoy it. I wonder if, yeah, because one of the things that you kind of like can run into with a game like this is where it's essentially a series of, for lack of a better word, mini games, but I don't mean mini game in sort of like a derogatory, like, oh, that's just a mini game. The fishing one is a mini game. That definitely is that. But more like they're like bubbles of like contextualized activity. So farming is this kind of own bubble. So that's the planting, that's the watering, that's the harvesting. And then you have the foraging, so that's walking around and picking up items in the different areas. You have the conversations with people. So you have a whole bunch of these different kinds of activities that you can do. And we're even like you can look at like character progression, and you can see, if I can find it. So you can see like there's 5 categories: farming, mining, foraging, fishing, combat. Yeah, and those are kind of the core, things going on, activities that you can be doing, verbs, we might say, within the game. And there are different ways that you can do those things and intersplice them. And so you as a player, so it's, you wake up, I think it starts the day at like 6 a.m. And if you really push yourself, you have until 2 a.m. before you pass out and the day has to reset. So you're very limited in what you can actually accomplish on a given day. So part of the core experience of the game is just making decisions about what you're going to do that day. And generally speaking, you have to make them pretty quickly. So we actually see our timer up on the top, which is probably infinitesimally small right now because it's all zoomed out. Let's see if I can fix this up a little bit again. But you can see there's a timer on the top of the clock here, and it's paused because I played a single-player game. When you're doing single-player and you open your menu, that pauses, which is great. It also pauses when you do cutscenes. However, if you're playing multiplayer, it does not pause at all. So cutscenes can end up taking an entire like half a day of your progress and stuff. But that's sort of an aside issue. But one thing about this is like you have such a limited amount of time and you don't have a lot of time to make decisions, and that clock will just keep running out as you're walking around and doing things. And so making decisions about what you're going to do, how you're going to prioritize your day, that's a really big part of the player choice throughout the game. And so because that's a big part of the experience, I mean, you want there to be a variety of things for the player to do. And if everything feels the same, if everything is the same loop or gives you the same like experience and rewards, that's not so great. You do need variety. I think maybe the question about combat in particular is as much as it is required for you to succeed at the game, to like progress your character, is it too much of a different play style that it might ultimately conflict with how the other ones feel in a way that isn't like, here's something different that's new and fresh to do. It's, I don't actually like this part and it's a chore because it sort of conflicts with your player base. I don't know. I think people have had different experiences.
Yeah, Duke was saying you think it'd be better if combat was an alternative rather than a required.
Right.
Like if it was a social or husbandry way of getting to get those items instead, if you would feel like less out of place.
Right.
Which I think is, I think that's a good point. My question would be like, okay, if mining was there, I mean, in some instance, just to kind of add variety to your day, so you have something different to do, what would the design be that would fit this type of game? Would it be like maybe you have a certain part of the mine that is, if you go into that area, you're gonna do a combat system, kind of like in Pokemon, where if you went into the bushes, you were going to be attacked by Pokemon.
Right.
But if you didn't want to do that, then you could walk around certain areas and kind of just go from town to town. Well, where you can. Sometimes it was unavoidable.
Yeah.
But I thought that was, maybe an interesting design where you can kind of sort of choose when you want to do combat or not, which might have some sort of design in this, where like if you just wanted to go to the mines to pick up the diamonds or the minerals or whatever, maybe there's a different way to do that without combat, or maybe it's, say, lower without combat, but you can still do it. Something. But yeah, it's an interesting point of like, what would the player be able to choose as the design choice to kind of get the part of the game that is mining used in a way that would fit what they would like to use. So,
yeah. And
the last thing you want to have happen is for someone to go like, oh my god, I have to go to the mines, and I hate the mines. You know what I mean?
Right. Which I do think is what some people have experienced.
Yeah.
I think there's and this was another point you made, is like, as a designer though, you have to make important choices about where you're going to put your time. Like, you have a finite number of resources, and every game can't have everything. And so making important decisions about what's going to work in this game, what do I have time to make, those are really important, just like production decisions, right, about what you're going to do, where you're going to spend your time and energy. And so developing simultaneous systems that give people the choice to do this or that and get the same reward out of it means that you are potentially designing a system in your game that no player will ever, not necessarily no player, but a given player might never engage with. And so then that becomes a question of, okay, well, if a given player is never going to engage with this system, is it actually worth it to put the time and effort and energy into making this system a reality?
Right.
That's tricky. Like, it's not a straightforward answer, and it depends on the game.
Yeah, and you always fall into that trap where if you have multiple ways to do the same thing, does one way feel less lackluster than the other? And trying to find a design that works well, that all of it feels great to do. You know what I mean? Because you kind of want to reward the player for doing something the way they want to do it, right? Without, you still want them to feel challenged, but if someone says, hey, I did fishing with a fishing rod or fishing with a spear, and I still got the fish I want, you want them to feel like, hey, you did it the way you want to. Congratulations. Like, here's a cool way to kind of advance. Now, if there's a particular way that the player wants to, like, achieve their goals, they may have to kind of push themselves out of their comfort zone a little bit, and I think that's okay. But if like they feel, like I said, if they feel like, ah, man, this game isn't exactly like, this mechanic isn't exactly like something I'm like really interested in, then they may do things like save it for last or wait for some kind of upgrade to make it easier.
Right.
So yeah, it becomes a complex web that's hard to see from just the small like view, right? So because you could have ways for systems to interlock with each other, like a spider web, and you could help them support other systems, but it's a tricky, complex way to kind of get things to work together.
Always complex. Again, making games is hard and also really great.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
And it's that, and like, systems like this where people play this for years.
Oh.
Play testing's challenging to make sure that it feels right. So
I'm just kind of walking around the world here. This is fun. It's
yeah,
so pretty.
It's cool. I mean,
like, it's a really, and the whole world changes every season, right?
Oh,
which is
that's what I
really
was gonna
cool.
say. I mean, outside of quests being changed, there are like holidays and festivals, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So make my way over to Pierre's and take a look at the calendar.
Because right now, is it spring? Is that
Yes,
what this is?
yes, I
Okay.
believe so. You
'Cause I
might.
saw
Oh,
the trees were more flowered. There's butterflies.
this is another thing too. Is like you've probably seen it happen around. Is that there's like animals and butterflies and like various critters. It just makes the world feel so incredibly alive.
Yeah.
I think those little touches. Uh, the technical term is juice. Gives it a little bit of juice.
Yeah.
Like corn. Got the juice.
I haven't heard that in a second.
I know, right? So this is the calendar, so you can see like what year it is, what, and it's really fun because it's 20. Every month is 28 days, and there's only 4 months in the year. Spring, the seasons effectively. So it's condensed, and I mean I'm glad because it takes so much playtime to get through just 1 year.
Yeah.
If it was a full year, it would take forever. But you can see people's birthdays. You can see different festivals that happen. And so giving people gifts on their birthdays gives you extra bonus to the relationship connection
Oh
you can
yeah,
make
don't
with
forget
them.
their birthdays.
It's very
Forget
important.
their birthdays. You have to wait.
Or give them a bad gift on their birthday.
Yeah.
Because they have things that they like and dislike. And oh, by the way, there is a Wikipedia behind this game. It is a massive, massive Wikipedia. If you want to min-max, if min-maxing is your thing, there are spreadsheets, man. You can go crazy. Let's step with the Star Drop Salon. Maybe? Yeah, here we go. There's fun. Now talking about mini games. Here we go.
Oh yeah, I forgot about their little arcade system.
Boy. Ah! Oh.
I mean, man, you're way better than I would. I just love how like the little fruit thing has little arms. It's like, wee.
It's a Jumino, right? They're the little
Yeah.
forest spirit guys. Man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I think I just got a
I think
checkpoint.
that was a checkpoint.
Did I check? Or maybe not. Oh boy.
I hope so.
Ah! My blood pressure. Oh no.
Yeah, it's a checkpoint.
It was a checkpoint. Huzzah. Oh. Wow.
That's cool.
That's really fun. Anyway, there's one. And then there's the other one. This one. Oh my gosh, the Journey of the Pirate King.
Oh.
Is this a One Piece reference?
Maybe.
Why can't I shoot? Is there
shoot his face.
Shoot his
Wait, arrows.
arrows.
Sorry. Items and space. There you go.
Is that a One Piece reference?
I don't know. Maybe that definitely seems purposeful.
This feels like a game that was made at some other time.
Yeah.
That was then added, like just kind of thrown in here, polished maybe and thrown in here. It'd be fun to find out whether or not this was done like exclusively for this experience or if it was actually made prior to this.
Yeah, and you never know because like a lot of these types, because this is made by one guy, right? So
Yeah.
I don't follow him, but I'm assuming he probably has other different like vessels of like a Patreon or something like that. So he might be like, hey, if we
What the?
surpass this, then I'll, make a mini game that you guys can play in the saloon. So that's what's kind of cool about these is there's a special handcrafted like vibe with these kind of games that are just kind of neat to see evolve, because you could literally add more and more stuff to this game and just kind of adds to it over time. It just kind of that doesn't go away.
Oh no. I think this
Is that
one.
a wheel?
Yeah, but I think the wheel is actually pretty good. Like, oh, I just died, so it didn't matter.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
We'll never
Not
know.
intentional. Stop it.
Oh boy.
Good one, Wes. Stop. That was not purposeful. Don't congratulate me for something I had no hand in. Oh, cool. This has some barriers.
Multiple
So I wonder
levels.
if that's kind of like
Oh wait, there's a. Oh no, he got me before I got the wheel again. We'll still never know. Oh wait, I did get the wheel.
Whoa.
This is the wheel.
That's actually nice.
I have also. I think I just wasted my wheel of opportunity.
So you're getting some kind of coin currency, but I'm not really sure. Oh, I'm not really sure like how you use it. Maybe there's like a certain part of the game where you can purchase stuff.
I don't know. I wonder if I get enough, it will give me another life or something.
That kind of reminds me of Enter the Gungeon, where you pick up coins and like later in the dungeon you can like purchase things.
Is that a
not until
roguelike?
you unlock. Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty common roguelike mechanic.
Yeah. If you ever want to play that one, let me know. I love that game.
Okay, I think I'm over, done and over.
Yeah.
Oh hey, I don't think that took any time. That's nice.
It's 4:20 a.m.
Yeah. So there's a lot in this game that's fun. I mean I haven't shown any of the farming really, but
There's farming, there's crops, and then at some point you get animals that you can.
yeah,
take
I wonder
care
if I wonder what the status is of my farm here. Let me see. So yeah, you got. I think these are a bunch of like cheese, maybe. It looks like wine.
So animating as they're fermenting.
Yeah, and I've got I think mayonnaise is there, and I've got something growing here. I don't know what these are. These could be strawberries potentially.
That scarecrow looks like the scarecrow from Howl's Moving Castle.
Yes, I love it. There's a bunch of different like unique things just kind of thrown in here. Tons of references too. Just all kinds of references to various things in there. Yeah, so we got the turnip head from Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, turnip head. Good memory.
And yeah, so I got some animals here. Looks like I got both the barn and the coop. So I've got some cows, and I've got an automated feeder. So I'll just keep it loaded with hay and off to the races. And I think I was supposed to actually open the door and let the animals out. It's probably a thing that I was supposed to do.
Yeah, that's the only thing is you stop for a while, you come back.
I got a baby.
Oh, hey.
Oh, no.
Call it dinner, or call it breakfast. I'm just kidding.
I like Goo. Let's go with Goo.
Goo's a good name.
Goo. Here's Goo. I just watered Goo.
They love it. Yeah, it's the only thing you come back to these. And you really, like, when you play this for a while, you really do have a method that you kind of create for yourself. And so when you come back to these, sometimes it's like, oh man, I forgot how I,
The
woke up in the
rhythm.
morning, first thing I did.
Yeah, you have patterns that you're like, oh, this is definitely you do those things, and then yeah, coming back to a game later like this is a little bit like, oh gosh, what was I doing?
Yeah, that's one design in games I think that I'd love to see game developers think more on. Like the one thing I liked in the Pokemon games, in the newer ones, they would do like a quick snapshot of the last like 3 events that you did, kind of like a highlight.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay,
and so it,
like a
it would be
recap.
like, yeah, like you entered this town, you bought this, and you picked up this Pokemon, right? And you're like, oh, okay, that kind of helps me remember a little bit.
And
And even if I don't remember,
you could even do something that like kept track of certain things, and if you come back and it's been like, a week since you last played, it could give you a,
yeah,
this is what you did, this is what just happened. Or if you did like, come back 5 years later, it's like, you've been away for a
right.
while, here's what you did when you were playing this game last. I don't know how,
Well,
something like that might be more complicated depending on the game, but that could be a
or
nice little thing.
if you can make some kind of simple to use like drag and drop like journal that you can make where it's your goals that you want it to obtain, that even might be useful. So like even if you don't remember exactly what you did, you at least knew that you were trying to like, I don't know, get this gold bracelet for this character, right? And you
That
say, I want to go to the mines.
That's fascinating. 'Cause my initial inclination was that I wouldn't want to have to make the player take the step to do that, but that would be kind of an interesting thing. Like imagining it for Stardew Valley, if you when you woke up in the morning, if it kind of gave you just a quick board of like, how do you want to organize your day?
Yeah.
That could be, and it could even be like optional, where it's like you
Yeah,
have a
definitely I would
board
think it'd be cool to be optional because
where you could go up to the board and you could be like, your goals that you've acquired from
yeah,
XYZ, and you could say these are today's goals. And maybe there's even sort of a mini game of like, if you complete the goals that you set out for the day, then, and so it's almost sort of like kind of creating your own quest
yeah,
dynamically.
that'd be cool.
I kind of like that. That could be a fun
Now,
basis to a game.
they kind of have something like this in the beginning, right? Where you're recreating the town hall? Um,
Oh,
so
sure.
you have a couple of different objectives to rebuild that. It's kind of like a way to understand quest systems and stuff.
Yeah,
I think I remember
it's more
that.
about collectibles. It's really
Yeah,
just you go through and you collect items. It does force you to experience like the different aspects of the game. So like, if you want to complete the community center, you have to get the, like, you have to go fishing, you have to go into the mines, like it
right.
forces you to interact with the various systems in the game. But yeah, that's a nice,
Yeah, this area, yep.
yeah, so you can find, let's see, can I, yeah, so you can see these are the different collectible bundles, and so you can see what your progress is, and you have to collect the different pieces and things to get it to advance. I think I've done a lot of these actually, but yeah, I really like this and like going through this. And there's kind of like a, you can do the community center, or you can
Yeah.
sell your soul to the corporate overlords.
I love that. I love those choices. That's one thing I like in games is when they have uh factions that you can kind of side with, even if it's just kind
Okay.
of like a fun, like maybe they don't, sometimes they can affect gameplay, sometimes not, but it's like you kind of have fun with just, trying something different with like people who are, like in this one, you leave the job that is the conglomerate, right? Like,
Right. The opening
and that,
cinematic to this is so great. There's like the
but
cubicle with the skeleton in it.
yeah, but then you can kind of tiptoe back into it with certain quests, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's
You
kind of
can kind
fun.
of resell your soul to the corporate
Yeah,
overlords. Yes.
I think that's fun.
All right. So I'm gonna take us back, and I'm actually gonna switch us over. Let's go back to AMD's page. So, the second game that we're going to talk about today is Hard Space Shipbreaker, which was a game I didn't necessarily have super on my radar, but I think it was in a Humble Bundle. I think it maybe was in December's Humble Bundle. And there was a couple of games I downloaded from that looked interesting, but I just decided to pick up this one and start playing it. And dude, I am so delightedly hooked on this game.
Okay,
It is.
I haven't heard this one.
It is, man. I'll try to explain when we get into it what it is about it that just really works for me. So it's developed by Blackbird Interactive. They built it in Unity, and it was released in June of 2020, which actually pretty dang good time to release a game was June 2020. People were looking for things to do and opportunities. I hope it did well for them, because I think there's a lot of good things going on in here. So speaking of corporate overlords, basically the entire plot of this game is about a pretty awful mega corporation that runs the solar system that you end up working for. There's this whole plot about forming unions and making things better, but effectively it's you've played games like this before where you sign up to go work for them, and then the process of signing up to work for them puts you in absurd amount of debt to the company, and so you're effectively working your way out of debt. I think you start with one point. I think you start with $1.5 billion of debt.
That's crazy.
And you progress your way through. So let me go ahead and let me switch over to our game show here. We'll pop into this and play it. Now it's worth mentioning, and they actually will have a warning screen about this, as there's a lot of movement in it. We'll say. So yeah, here's the caution. I'll leave this up. Game contains explosions and other flashing lights, and it may not be suitable for people with photosensitive conditions. So player discretion advised, viewer discretion advised. So just want to make sure we call that out.
So if you have concerns, just turn off your monitor.
Right. You can listen to our voices.
You can listen. You can listen to us. It's like a podcast now.
It's become a podcast. All right. I am just gonna. Oh, actually, and I'm going to have to move our faces here once we get into the game, because there's some UI in the lower side of the screen. Is it in the lower left, or it actually might be in the lower right? We'll take a look. Okay, so you have signed on with Link Salvage. Basically, the time frame here is it is kind of near future, next couple hundred years, near future. Think like The Expanse. It's a similar kind of period in the life of the solar system. And what you have is you have become a shipbreaker. So what they have is they have these ships which are decommissioned, no longer in use, and they need to recycle them. And so they have these space docks where you go out and you cut apart the ship and you put it into 3 different bins for recycling purposes. And then you get paid depending on how well you do and that sort of a thing.
That actually sounds really cool.
This is awesome. So you are let's go start the shift. Do I still have a ship left over? I do. It's not that important, is it? Nah, let's do a new one. Let's see.
Yeah, this is one of those things that it kind of sounds cool if this was a real thing you could do in real life. But also, because it's so dangerous, I'm glad it's just a video game.
Yeah, well, they have the conceit of the game is they have this thing called the Everwork system, where you basically, if you die, you get a new body, but they charge you for it.
Oh man.
Yep.
Of course they have that.
Yeah, they're all over that like corporate overlords thing. All right, let's start a new ship. There's little chatter with the characters. All right. I'm going to start by just getting myself some fuel. Make sure I have full charges. Okay, here we go. All right. So here we go. Welcome to the berth. I believe it's berth 88 because I think it says 88 at the back. Okay, so this is your habitat. And yes, this is actually really cool. They have all of the stuff in the distance that is just really neat. This is like a fast travel ray gun thing that like launches ships to other locations in the solar system. And then Earth is somewhere. There's Earth.
Oh, so this is right outside the atmosphere.
Yep. So that's Luna up there.
Man, this is so weird. Cause yeah, this definitely will probably be a thing in the future because we have so much like space debris. You know, it's just kind of hanging out now.
Okay, so let's get some air here, and we'll take a look at our ship. This is the ship. This is one of the biggest ships in the game. So basically, what we have is there. You'll notice there's the fiery bay. There's the blue one, and there's the green one down at the bottom. So basically, you have the furnace, the processor, and the barge. And there are different kinds of materials all across the ship, and you have to move those into the different bins. I am actually going to move both of us up the screen here just for keeping the UI on screen. There's lots of tools that they have available for you to do this. The first one is the grapple, and you can use the grapple to kind of swing yourself around.
That's cool.
And then you can also use it to remove things. So these are salvage crates, shipping crates, and so you have to kind of remove them. And then once you have it latched, you can... that one's really heavy. You can move pieces around. You can also have these tethers, so I can latch onto this, and you'll see this green line that shows you where the object should go. So I can tether it down to the barge, and you'll see it grab that, and it will pull it down.
Oh, it actually pulls it. Oh,
yep.
Cool.
So there it goes.
That's really neat.
And then once it goes down into the barge, it'll flag it as you have successfully salvaged that, and it will give you some profit from the salvage.
I do like the very Western cowboy
yes
music. It kind of is getting me that like Cowboy Bebop vibes.
Yeah,
like,
yep. I think that's totally there. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go through and we'll drop. The controls take a little getting used to, but they're really not that bad. Like it's fairly intuitive. So I'm using the keyboard. So you have Q and E is your rotation. You have W is forward, S is backwards, and then you have A and D is your strafing. If you push Q and E at the same time, it stops you. Now, if you're going fast, so like if I get myself going here and I push Q and E, it slows down to a stop. It's not immediate. It does take your velocity into consideration. And then I can do space is up, and then shift is down.
So you're like basically jet propulsioned or something. Yep. Like, okay. Huh.
I can just go through and I can... And there's inertia, so like I'm not pushing anything right now. I'm just going across and... Oh, that was the wrong thing to do. Oh well. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different stuff. Now there's this, which is a big fuel canister. So you want to be careful with that because you have this other tool. So this is a precision cutter, and it has a different mode too. So this is a... let me find something. Can I actually cut something? Nothing here is a good thing to cut. All right. Let's do this. So you'll see on the ship there are yellow marked points like this one. Those are called cut points. And you can vaporize them. And that will let you take things off. So like this one here, I can vaporize this. That becomes detached. And now this is just free floating. So I can... Now the gun, the kind of grabbing mechanism here also has a... So you can pull things towards me. And I can also push things away from me. So... So you can use the F button to launch things. Now this is a white cut point, and those ones I can't cut with the regular cutter. So I have these.
Is that like a detonator? Oh god.
Get to blow things up.
You know, it's interesting to see a lot of, especially sci-fi games, like color is such an important part of like design and just understanding what you're looking at, especially for games that are highly complex like this. And yellow is, I think I've seen a lot recently as a color that is interactive.
Yeah. And I
like
have weird
I've
feelings
seen
on
over the last
yellow,
couple
actually.
years.
Yellow can sometimes be a weird color.
Yeah. But
Now,
it's something I've seen over the last couple of years that people have been using.
Yeah. Something I want to show you here, though, is so you can also do these scanner views. So this gives you an internal look, so you can see how there's like the structure there. Blue things are going to be things which go in the processor. Red are things that go in the furnace. You can also get, so this is a structural look at the ship. You can also look at systems. So those will show you like, here's nacelle, fuel tank, and you can kind of like see more system level things. And then you can also see objects. So a lot of objects like these storage shipping containers, those are the things that go on the barge. That just gives you some cool insight into what the ship is. Now, what's really interesting is you'll notice all of these green things. Those are compartments that are pressurized. And so you're in vacuum, and those are pressurized. And so the way that you deal with them is going to be really important. So, for instance, we come over here. Notice that the thrust chamber is pressurized. And if I look at it there, you saw that little danger thing for a second. That lets you know that it is pressurized. Well, let's open the windows a little bit.
Oh, so they could hit you sometimes.
Yes. Things, when you depressurize, things can become projectiles that will indeed be deadly. Oh, no.
Cool.
Bring it back. No. That's not where I want it to go.
Being squirrely.
It's being squirrely. So now you can see they have those white with the slash. That means that they are exposed to vacuum. But now there are spaces inside that are pressurized, so I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with those.
So it wasn't just one, it was like several of them were now depressurized.
Yeah, there's doors between different chambers and things, so you're going to have to figure out how to deal with various doors.
That's cool.
Similar to how Stardew Valley works, you'll actually see a timer on the top. Oops. So this is an airlock. So you get 15 minutes per shift. I can come in here. Close the airlock. And on the right side, you'll see it says pressurizing, and now it's pressurized. So I'm now in a pressurized environment. It's important to kind of pay attention to those things. Now, let's see.
Yeah, notice your UI is kind of staticky. Is that a thing, or is that just...
Yes, so that tells you that you are close to a reactor.
Oh, that's fun.
Yes, so that is why it is a little bit staticky, because there is a reactor close by. actually was trying to kind of see if I can figure out how to get to it. And I'm just going to do this. And
Well,
I'm dead.
Okay.
Whoops. So I was in a pressurized room, and I opened a door to the vacuum, and so the pressure went out, and it took me with it and smashed me into the wall. So that is what just happened there. Whoops.
So it's really important to know what steps you're taking.
Yes. So this is the thing that I absolutely love about this game. It's just a big puzzle. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
It's one big puzzle, and you're just trying to figure out how to approach, and there's different patterns that work better or worse depending on the kind of ship that you're doing. There's a lot of different kinds of ships. I was showing some of those off. And different patterns of ships will be more or less successful. All right, so now we're kind of into the. There's usually like rooms like this. So you can see this is a room here as a box, and then there's a gap between the room and the outer structure of the ship. So this is the reactor right here. That's why our screen is a little wonky. And then this is the thruster. So that right there is where that cap popped off. So what we can do here is we can detach the thruster. So that detaches it. And something that probably would be really valuable here. So I'm going to break those two.
Are those the same two you would do on the outside?
No, because most of them are only accessible from inside. So you couldn't actually see them from the inside.
Oh, okay.
For the outside. So I've popped this back cap off. I can send that over to the processor. And then I can pull out the thruster and send that down to the barge. And there we go. We're off.
Sorry, how do you know which one goes where again?
Yeah, so if you see it,
color?
you see how I'm looking at these items right there in the middle of the screen is a description of what it is, how heavy it is, what the cut level is, what the value of it is, and then right at the top it tells you which it goes into.
Okay.
Very, very helpful. Now, something I'm probably going to want to do before I get rid of too much of the ship's weight is I want to go through and finish depressurizing it, because you can actually get to a situation where you can make the entire ship move in the bay if you have removed too much of its weight and then depressurize it. I've actually accidentally launched a ship into the furnace before doing that.
Oops.
Okay. Trying to see if I could get this taken apart enough to get to the reactor. That's always fun to do, the reactor. I'm trying to kind of keep it more up-down oriented than I would usually on my own.
Oh, I was just gonna say, that's one of the things that I'm not as, I guess, knowledgeable in terms of, like, going through a game is orientation being different. Like,
dude.
You know, usually you're planted on the ground.
Yeah.
But in space, yeah, you just have to kind of be okay with
It takes
you're facing.
It takes a little bit to get sea legs. It does. This one's really too heavy to move on my own. So sending it with the tug is good. And you can see when I start pulling on it, if it's kind of got a bluish outline, you see it has that means that I can pull it. That it's enough kind of a separated piece. It's not attached to other things.
Salvage secured. Applying credit.
That one off.
You watching the clock, Cutter? You've got 1 minute left.
Now, something that took me a long time to kind of figure out was actually you can use the bay to your advantage as well. So you can hook things onto pretty much any surface. And there are these
Oh,
yellow
okay.
guys floating at the top. They're just mostly lights, but you can actually use those to try to pull things up and down.
Okay.
Like I use the wall to pull this back, make it easier to get over there.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
kind
got a
of
light
like.
on it.
So what happens if you put the wrong items in the wrong areas?
So it'll yell at you and say, "You did the wrong thing."
Yeah.
I think we're just about set up to get that reactor next time, though.
Okay, so yeah, you're out of time, so then you just pause, collect
Yep.
what you have, and go back to it
It
later.
gives you this nice little report. Tells you how much you made, how much you didn't make, how much you destroyed. And then, yeah, so...
How detrimental is it that you die?
Well, at this point in the game, it doesn't really matter that much, but it can really... Basically, like, every time that you have to respawn during a session, it will increase how much that costs. And so it can add a bunch to your debt if you aren't careful.
Yeah.
Good morning, shipbreaker. Your theta wave levels are high.
Yeah, so this shows you how much. So I did one spare. This is how much it cost me to do one spare. Now I'm at the point of the game where the debt has been canceled and I'm just making money now. So
Okay.
but it used to be, I'd have to be making like 3 or 4 million in order to not be going back into the red. Yeah, let me just jump right back in. But mostly,
Forgot to ask, is
oh, go ahead.
this game multiplayer?
It
or
is
it
not.
just single?
No, just single
Okay.
player.
Processing valuable deposit. Credits transferred.
And I was looking online on Steam. They have another thing called Space Engineers. Do you know what that is?
Well, that's been around for a long time, right? Space Engineer. That's a different company, pretty sure.
Oh, okay. That's not like because it was like a bundle, so that must have been their
Yeah.
other game. So forget I said
Okay,
anything.
so this is how. So all of the different pieces that you can get actually, the bigger things like the reactor. There's different ways to handle them. So let me just open up the reactor casing here.
Deposit accepted for processing.
So that's the actual reactor there. If I pull the reactor out right now, it will start going bad places. So before I pull it out, I need to actually take care of the reactor coolant. And that's actually in here. It's super close on this ship. In some ships, it's on the other side of the ship. But I can actually access this panel.
So once you do one ship or a couple ships, a lot of these processes are similar enough. You may know pretty much kind of how to approach them.
Yeah,
right?
you start getting the sense of different things. But even now, like I haven't done all of the ships yet, and so there's still things. And the interiors of the same model of ship can be very different from one another. There's a
Yeah.
lot of really nice randomization to it. All right, so let me pull this last one, and now the reactor is going critical.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Sort of.
but it's going critical slower than if I had just pulled it out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I can just pull it out and then drop it to the barge. There we are.
Salvage goal met. Rewards will be paid.
Yeah, so there are these salvage goals. So, you know, there's a total amount of possible salvage, and if you destroy stuff or put it in the wrong bay, it'll progressively show the red bar on the right side about how much has been destroyed or failed to be processed. And so as you go through 1 through 9, each of those, if you hit those give you additional level points and cert points and things so you can upgrade your gear.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy the almost 15-minute increment.
Oh, it's great.
Kind of.
I love it.
It's not just like, oh, you know, like, I mean, it could be kind of neat to do it without, but
Well, so
You
the
know?
very first mission is without. They
Oh, is
don't
it?
they don't
Okay.
make you do it on a timer the very first one. So the very first time when you're starting to figure it out, trying to learn how it all works, they give you
Yeah.
no timer. You can just go through and you can play around with your tools and kind of experiment and start to get the sense of how it works. I love that. That is a fantastic decision, I think.
It's a good way to break it down, but I don't know if it really, without playing it too much, it really changes a whole lot because you can always do whatever you need to the next day. But what
Right.
it does do is it makes you think more about what you want to do.
Yes, and when you're in the earlier part of the game, when your debt situation matters,
Yeah.
you do want to always make sure that you're getting enough on your shift to cover your debt.
Right. Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Each day is an expense.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really neat.
So, I might be getting myself into trouble here if I don't do this first. Okay, so instead of doing what I did last time, which was just die, I am going to... You can actually use your hand to hold on to a surface.
Oh, okay.
That didn't help, but oh well, I tried. Letting all of that depressurize.
So did that hurt you at all?
No, that was... I was in the depressurized space and the air was blowing at me, which was a lot safer than being in the pressurized space and getting launched out of it.
Right.
Oh yeah, you can find these posters and then you can put them up inside of your habitat.
Oh, yeah, what's the habitat concepts like? Is it you're building your home and
Yeah, once we run out the
magical
clock
things?
here, I'll show you
Okay.
kind of what it looks like. There's not a lot to it. It's pretty minimalistic, which actually I think was a good decision on their part.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, keep it small. You can't even walk around. Like you can, but like you don't have like your standard WSAD control or anything.
Yeah.
Accepted for processing. Salvage accepted. Credit applied.
So this is going through and grabbing all of the barge pieces.
So
Just kinda get
are
into
all
a
these
rhythm.
are all these ships kind of like, hey, these are just ships and they're just needing to be decommissioned, or are there ever any things like some sort of progressive story where it's like, you know, hey, this ship was a warship and it, you know, has parts and pieces destroyed, so just get only the good stuff, or is it pretty straightforward where it's like, you know,
Most of
here
the
are-
ships are pretty straightforward. There is a little bit of an extra thing that does happen, and that part I don't want to spoil that for people who might want to play it. 'Cause
Sure,
it's
yeah.
kind of more fun. The most of the narrative happens between the characters. So as you level up your certification, there's this other narrative that's going on about the Union and like getting out of debt and stuff. And
Yeah.
oh, what was that?
Oh, it got detached a little bit.
And so that's kind of the quote unquote the narrative of the story. And so I've kind of run that out. That's finished on my playthrough. But okay, so this is a fun one. So this is a processor connected to a furnace piece, and there's no way that they disconnect. So the way you have to do this is you have to use your laser cutter.
Oh,
There we go.
melt it a little bit.
So it actually cuts it in half.
Oh, wait, is any surface able to be cut in half?
So any surface that's furnace, like the furnace pieces, they can be cut
Yeah.
in half.
Okay.
Valuable object processed.
Well, actually, I'll try and I'll show that off here more in just a second. So yeah, you can do a lot of interesting things with cutting.
Salvage
Get these
deposit
lights out of here.
applying credit.
light, and a door panel. Come on. Also, if you pull an object to yourself too quickly, you can kill yourself.
Oh no.
Registered.
Okay, so there's this tube. This is a furnace piece. So
Yeah.
I can actually flip this way or this way. And if I do this, I can cut it.
I was gonna say that's very Dead Space. Like switching the cutter. I think
Oh,
you're
no,
moving
wait,
to
hold
it.
on, hold on. No, that was the processor.
Please revisit your training.
Yeah, it yelled at me because I put it in the wrong place. It's- This is hard to line up. Okay, sorry, this is not going according to plan. Alright, I think now we're free.
I was just gonna say it's kind of like 3D modeling.
You can actually chain things together. So you can
Oh,
chain
yeah, I was
pieces
gonna
next to each
ask
other.
if you could do that.
Material
Daisy chain 'em.
accepted.
Yep, you can
That's
daisy
cool.
chain them. I don't know that it's always the most effective way to do it. Sometimes I think that daisy chaining doesn't actually work all that great.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go in here and depressurize the rest of this ship while it's still
Airlock depressurizing.
large.
Now, are there other ways you can get, like,
Airlock
Uh,
pressurizing.
you get paid for doing certain things in the game other than throwing them into the bays that they need to go to?
No,
Or
I
is
think
it
that's
always-
it's primarily
Bug
just
in the
that.
clock cutter, okay?
Not like, hey, I turned off everything or depressurized everything and I'll get paid for that, but no. Just curious.
What's gonna be a good way to do this? Oh, I know what it is. Okay. I'm gonna collect that. I'm gonna open some of these doors up.
What was that you grabbed?
Yeah, so some of these ships have little pieces. Actually, this is fun. This is the bolt, and it doesn't do anything. It's just a bolt, and you can run into it. It floats around, but it's junk. Like it doesn't. You can't even move
Okay.
it. But some of these, there's the side thing where you're repairing a ship, so you can find different pieces. You can actually intentionally break some of the salvage in order to get some of the pieces as well.
Oh, okay. You can break other things down.
Yeah. Now you lose
Okay.
money for that. The ones that are floating around, like you can see if I like this computer, if I break it, I'll get wires out of it. So if I need wires, then I
Okay.
can do that.
What would you use the wires for example?
Well, it's just for like repairing the ship. So
Okay.
just like, okay. I'm gonna see if I can. This is gonna be bad.
Oh, was that automatic?
It did automatically close it.
Interesting.
Hold on! Hold on!
It's kind of intense.
That was pretty intense. It closed all of the doors. Crap.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, I have to do that again. Ouch.
You gotta think about where it's being flung at. When it
Yeah.
Pressurizes.
That's in the wrong way.
Kind of like
Oh my
popping
gosh.
those package bubbles. Just
Right?
Addictive.
Man, these doors are making it really challenging to depressurize the ship.
Yeah, because it's
It's auto sealing everything,
1, 2, 3.
which
Yeah.
great ship design. It's terrible for what I tried to do though.
Yeah. But being so safe.
Oh no. Oh crap. That's unfortunate.
What's that?
I just broke a radiation filter.
Oh, is that an expensive part?
It is, and it also is now leaking radiation.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, alright, well. Let's see, this is the front of the ship. Looks like we got everything, but looks like maybe an airlock. Yeah, see the blue sparkles?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's leaking radiation right there. I gotta figure out how to get back inside. There it is. Yep. Yeah, that's definitely leaking radiation.
So leaking radiation equates to what? Like if you stay in it too long, then you pass out?
Yeah, I
Or-
think it can also cause damage to other components, so it kind of cascades.
Not much time left, Cutter. 1 minute to go.
Alright. Oh, no. There's more? I think it's just an airlock. Nope. Not just an airlock. Alright, we finally got the ship depressurized. That was a lot of work. Maybe I could find the radiation panel, but I don't see it. I guess it's further down the ship. All right. Well, that's a good start.
I say that's probably your day. That's really neat. Like I really like
There's so much about this game that I
how
love.
it's set up.
The movement is obviously something I can't really communicate, like, but the controls feel really good. Like they feel really,
Okay.
really, really good. Yeah, so I'll show you around the hab a little bit. Don't really have time for another round.
The Lynx Salvage is the name of the company.
That's
that you're
correct.
working
Yep,
for?
Link Salvage. Yep.
Hello, Shipbreaker. Overnight genetic backup complete. Pattern deviation nominal. Have a good day.
All right. Yeah, so this is your little hab. There's not tons you can do here, but you can change the posters around your bed.
Float in there.
You can
Hang in there.
yeah. So there's as you like do different ships, you can collect different posters, and so you can decorate your room.
That's cool.
They like live, laugh, salvage. That's great.
Fun.
So where's my float in there. So there's like there's some fun stuff you can do here, because as you're doing different ships, you can find data, like data modules, and so this is data miner. But I just want to go back and like listen to this. Oh, okay. Let's close out of it and try it again. Oh man, it didn't do it again. So, because it starts out, you open it up, it goes da, 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 data miner, but that's the opening notes to in the Hall of the Mountain King. Da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da,
I was
da,
just
da,
gonna
da, da, da.
say.
But it's so cleverly done. I love it. And so you can
That's
find like recordings that you can then decode, and some of them are just text. Some of them actually have like
Well,
recording.
Cap, I figured out what your problem is. You ain't gonna like it. Looks like it's the sucker. Well, Cap, I figured out what
Oh,
your
no,
problem
stop
is.
it.
You ain't gonna like it.
So you can, there's various, like, there's, all they are is just world building tidbits, but it's a nice little way to learn about what is the actual state of the world that you're in, and they have like an email log from things that happen. Ship doctor, this is the ship that you're repairing.
That's the ship
So you can pick up different items and repair it as you go along.
Oh, this is the ship you're repairing.
Yes, this is
Okay.
the ship you're repairing.
Is that the one you're on now, or just one that you're trying to?
Yeah, it's actually right there.
Oh, okay.
So it's like docked next to your habitat. So basically what they do is they have these, you can see these hexagon rings out in the distance. So the hexagon rings are the salvage places, and then you have your hab, and then the hab will kind of be around your ring, and then when it's your turn to be in the bay, then your hab will move down into the bay. And then you come out of your hab and you work, and then you get back in your hab and it moves away. There is a kitchen. There's not really any purpose to this other than posters.
Nice.
I think my guess is that there was some mechanic that they were going to do with food connected in there, because one of the choices that you get at the beginning of the game is like, what kind of food do you eat? And so you can choose your diet, and my diet was plastic free. So there's no.
That's a good one.
That's why there's
a really good one.
The no plastic sign on the food.
That's funny.
So you have your workstations. This kind of shows your equipment, and then you can upgrade your equipment. So there's an upgrade tree, and you get these links tokens as you like do those numbered goals. As you hit those, you'll get both experience points and then also links tokens, and so you can upgrade your stuff as you go through. There are stickers, so you can actually your different tools.
I saw a sticker on your tool. Yeah, that little guy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
You can put stickers on your tools. So it's just a fun little cosmetic thing that lets you throw stuff on there. You can see your suit, and again more posters. So it's just a little like personalization, customization thing as you go through and you play around with it. It's just a little fun extra thing. This is actually something though, like definitely consider something like this. I don't necessarily like that you kind of you end up rotating back and forth, and so the direction and like what goes to what is a little bit, it takes a little bit to kind of figure out where you are and how everything works. But the idea of having
it's very Myst-like.
Oh yeah, sure, a little bit like that. I like the idea behind it though, because effectively all this is a menu, and this could have been a menu.
That's
like you wouldn't have to create an environment. It could have just been a menu. But some games I know will do a thing where you actually you have a character in the space and you actually walk around in the space. And I think that has its own problems as well. So I like the sort of marriage between you still get to feel like you're in an environment, you're in a space, and you have your menu functionality, but you don't actually have to deal with any mechanic beyond just like point and click. Like you use an arrow key to move around inside of it.
One of the things you probably wouldn't want to have happen is someone to be playing, and then they get back to this for like, I don't know, the 10th mission, and they just discovered that, oh, this really important thing was here, and I had no idea, right?
Just because you hadn't walked to it, yeah.
Right, so I wonder if that was like a way to kind of lock that in so people would hopefully not miss it.
Right. Well, I think the tutorial to this game is actually pretty good. It walks you through things. It doesn't introduce everything all at once. It gives you, here's a couple things to learn about. Read an email. Here's your equipment bench. Go out there and start doing stuff. And then it gives you an initial ship, and it only gives you a couple of your tools. And then you get to practice with them and work without a timer. And then you come back in. And then it kind of gives you some goals to complete. So you complete those goals, then you come back in, and then it shows you a few more things. Then you go back out again, shows you a few more things. It progresses really nicely. And you don't unlock all of the items until pretty far through the storyline. I think you don't get everything until the end of Act 2 or so.
Right.
So it does a really nice job of like kind of more of that Portal like progression where it hands you piece by piece by piece as you go through of like teaching you how to play the game is the entire game basically.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, you get me into a wall of text on how to describe stuff. I just go
It's so hard.
off board. Well, because I've upgraded my, especially if it's, I mean, if my computer, I can probably read it, but if I'm like hanging out in the living room and it's on my TV, like that was one of the hard things with, I don't know why the name escapes me, but the new Bethesda Star game,
Starfield.
right? Is I had a really hard time just seeing stuff because it was so hard with the wall of text. And I'd be fine with it if it was just small moments in the game that, like I'm reading a log or whatever, but everything felt like a requirement to sit down and carefully read everything and understand it. And if I'm playing that game for hours and hours and hours, I'm tired, man. I can't read after a while. And so, like, my TV may not be big enough, which is weird because it's bigger than years ago when that was a big problem. So I think that's a big thing is like, I know it's hard to design sometimes, but like, just because your game design doc and your sessions that building the game require a lot of text, just try to make it simple.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you may have built this entire tutorial system that people need to read, but I hate to say it, a lot of players probably aren't going to read most of it.
Right.
Some people will. But yeah, I think that's something that you keep in mind. I know we've done that through dialogue systems where we create entire stories with a game that we're working on, and we really parsed it down to like almost 5-second moments of dialogue between characters because we know that people aren't going to sit around there that long. Maybe they will, but they won't be as intently thinking about the story if it's like, say, even 30 seconds.
Right.
They're going to be like, okay, I'm done.
Well, this was Hard Space Shipbreaker. I have loved playing this, and again, it was a thing you pointed out, Wes, is like being able to just digest it in 15 minutes chunks, and that you don't have to commit.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't have to commit to any more than that. There's so much about this game and how it feels and how it all comes together. I just really, really enjoyed it. So I highly recommend. It's a good time. There's other modes too. I haven't tried any of them out yet. But this was like the career mode, but there's free play, don't know what colors race is, leaderboards, and you could do, oh shoot, that's not what I meant to do. You can do like, there's different modes. So there's like an easy, hard, normal, hard kind of a thing. There's like an Iron Man mode where you only get one life. I think there's another one where you get 30 total. And then if you die 30 times, then you're toast. Skip. Come on.
Hello, Shipbreaker 9346-52.
Quit. And back out. Can you back out? Anyway, I'll just hit the quit button. But yeah, you can do different career modes. There are different challenges and things. But yeah, that was this December's edition of Games That We're Thankful For. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
That was really cool. I mean, and the interesting thing is like, each one of those systems, they definitely both had kind of like the Stardew Valley and then the Hard Space game had like different ways of going about collecting different things. But
yeah, your like core minute to minute is different, but there is some interesting overlap where they have timers, you have your day clock, and you have goals and tasks that you're completing within it. Yeah, there are some similarities between those two games, which is kind of funny. It wasn't intended to be that way.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of really neat ways of kind of showcasing real life scenarios and what ifs. Like,
Mm,
your first thing may not be like, okay, I want to learn everything about farming, but doing Stardew Valley, you might be like, oh wow, that's how you take care of like cows, that's how you grow different types of crops, what kind of seasons they're in, what kind of seeds you need,
right.
what kind of weather you need. They're like, this is actually kind of interesting. And same thing in outer space, you're like, if I had to decommission an entire spaceship for resources, what would that look like? And the very real concept of depressurizing parts of a spaceship is life or death is
Yeah.
kind of a neat concept,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
I mean,
So I find that stuff
if
fascinating.
you want to learn how to flip houses, and a House Flipper 2 just came out a
Yeah.
couple days ago, I believe.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about games where you do mundane tasks,
Yeah.
Power Wash Simulator, I believe, is out there.
I'm I haven't touched it in a bit, but I'm pretty addicted to that game.
Did you play it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
amazing.
it's pretty addictive. Because like it's weird because I would just play it out in the living room and my wife would come in and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're still playing this game? Like what are you doing?" I'm just hosing down this playground and it's taking a while, but it's very just calming. It's very satisfying when you finally get that last bit of dirt done and it like all glows. And I think that sometimes like those are just great games to play like when you're just wanting to just chill and not maybe you think a little bit, right? You think about strategy a little bit, but like just to kind of sit down and know what you're doing after a while and just kind of go from one part to the other.
That's what I
Um,
like about Hard Space is it just I figured a lot of the tips and tricks out, but it's not every ship is still different, and so you still have to tackle each ship with its own individual combination of things.
yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we should probably wrap it up. This has been a lot of fun. It always is, and we're wrapping up COG stuff for this year. 2023 has been fun. We tried some new things. We've gone some new
Yeah.
places, partnered with new people. We've got some stuff coming around the corner for next year that we're excited about. Global Game Jam in January. We'll talk more about that soon on our Discord channel. Yeah, definitely want to wish all of you happy holidays. Thank you so much for being a part of COG. Literally, we would not do this if it weren't for you. Like, you all
Yeah.
make this the thing that we love to do as partnering with you
Yeah,
all.
the more you talk, the more you interact, the more we love to help and talk and communicate. I mean, we have a great community too. I don't want to like just boast that uh a little bit, but we have a lot of folks in there all the time, just kind of interested in helping new folks or folks that have been around for a while. We have some pretty good discussions
Yeah.
in our Discord channel. So if you go to
Yes.
thecog.com at the
Yes.
top right corner, there's our Discord channel that's in the red button
all
says
all
join.
kinds of resources. We've got development resources. We've got tips and tools. We just started a new business information channel for people who want to
Yeah.
ask questions about like starting their own like business and what that looks like. There's places for you to just chat about games. There are places for you to set up like gaming time together, to share your content like let's plays. Do screenshot Saturdays any day of the week if you want, but screenshot Saturdays. There's all kinds of stuff for art and for music and for design. There's plenty of spaces for all kinds of conversations.
And I like to tell folks too, we are Central Ohio Game Dev Group, but it doesn't mean if you're outside of Central Ohio, you can't join. You absolutely can.
Yeah.
We have tons of people, even from around the world, that are kind of just chiming in just to kind of, get some feedback. Because we do have folks coming in and out of like, game development for the first time, like out of high school or college or during college or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and folks who've been in the industry for a while that are happy to kind of talk to people. So
Yeah.
we have a multitude of different folks kind of interacting, which is great. And yeah, just a reminder that if you want to do a cool project over the holidays, we have our GDEX Winter Game Jam. So I post that in the YouTube channel, but if you go to thegdex.com/game jam, you'll see all our information if you want to be a part of that. That's until January 7th, end of day. And if you want to do it over a day, you can do it. If you want to do it solo or with a team, we are way flexible. And it's a great way, if you have game development experience or not, to kind of make something cool and interact with people. Tom, who is one of our other COG admins, is helping me with that this entire month. So we're kind of popping in and out. We have some design discussions throughout the month, and maybe we'll do some cool holiday things, like maybe like a Christmas movie or something. So chime in there if you want to say hi. We'd love to have you.
Die Hard.
And yes, maybe we'll do that. I was kind of thinking something like that, like maybe just kind of a play stream or something fun.
All right.
But yeah, we'll see what we can do.
All right.
That's all I got.
Thank you, Wes. Always glad to have you on the show. Thank you all for joining. And we'll catch you next time. And yeah, happy holidays, and we'll see y'all later. Cheers.
Yep. See you guys.